The work we do today will shape the direction of the region's commitments, and ultimately, it will shape the future of millions of displaced people who look to us for hope and solutions. Your Excellencies, colleagues, I thank you most sincerely. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you very much. And the Legal Secretariat appreciates the very strong relationship that we have on the technical and political front towards durable solutions in the region. And I would like most sincerely to appreciate the heartwarming message that the bank gave a grant for the teachers to be available for the children in the Republic of Uganda. Our guest of honor, I hope you'll extend the request for the rest of the member states, because that's really good news. Excellency, you also mentioned a very important thing, that is the issue of the data sharing protocol for IGAD region. And the Secretariat has taken note of that, and with this leadership, His Excellency Dr. Workene will follow up on this because it's very important. Excellency, please allow me invite our sister representing the refugees in the region, Monica, to address the meeting. Monica, welcome.
The guest of honor, Honorable Murkome, IGAD representatives and their leadership, ministers from different countries, partners of IGAD, refugees, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As I stand here today to talk about refugees and representation, I want to be intentional on what representation of refugees could make impact. Oftentimes, I have represented people in different capacities. Like when I was a student at the University of Nairobi, I represented students. I have represented students at the General Assembly in New York. I have represented refugees and youth in different platforms. And my question has always remained to be, what is representation? When we are called to come and stand here to do representation, how intentional are you? Are we here, or am I here standing to represent refugees to tick boxes? Or do my representation mean impact? And today, from the reflection of the 2 days that we have had, we have been part of the discussion. But I didn't see a permanent representative of refugees in IGAD, yet they're talking about the issues of refugees. Me coming here on the first day or being invited, there are many other meetings and forums that IGAD have sat down discussing issues of refugees. But then today I'm here, tomorrow it will be a different person, or next year it will be a different person sitting in this forum to discuss issues refugees. And this brings the gap in representation of refugees. And to the governments, to the partners of IGAD and IGAD itself, my message to you today is we need permanent representation, even in Shirika Plan and inclusion of integration of refugees. Can't we we don't have to be called every other day to represent on a specific topic in a specific day. And this is the reason. For example, when the discussions of integration of refugees started, there were discussions, deliberations, people disagreed to agree at the end part of it. But then, as refugees were represented with resolutions, we were not part of what was discussed to end up with what today we call important deliberations for refugees. And for that, I talk on education. Education for refugees is the reason as to why I'm standing here today. I'm not a daughter of a minister, I'm not a daughter of anybody. But because of education, it has made me stand before you today. But if you can see, there is gaps and every other year there's reduction in funding for education for refugees and for everyone else, for every other youth. So what are we doing to close up the gap? And as the refugees, we're not here only to represent. We come as experts. I am a lawyer. I'm no longer just a refugee. But then if I stand here as a lawyer, can I be in an area of my expertise? And as refugees, as we stand here before you today, we long for solutions. And if you can see from the reports that you have had every other day, we have realized that IGAD members, like for example, in the case of the country I come from, South Sudan. South Sudan is hosting refugees, and South Sudan is having the largest number of refugees outside. Why can't we make peace the most ultimate thing that we are looking forward to? That we have to have South Sudanese hosting refugees, and we have South Sudanese who are refugees in other countries. Why can't we make peace our priority? Do we have to sit down every day talking of what we need to do for refugees? Governments are here, they are represented. These are the same governments who can bring peace in our countries. These are the same governments who sit and say, we need to talk on how to solve issues of refugees, but they're not bringing peace in the countries. Are we being intentional with what we want? We are tired. And even we're talking of integration. For me, it's my biggest fear because from day one I left my country, my aim has always been going back home. Can we make going back home a priority, apart from other solutions we bring about and we discuss? Because if IGAD is hosting the neighboring countries, if we are becoming safe for Sudan, for Sudanese, why are we not making South Sudan safe for South Sudanese? If Djibouti, if other countries, if Somalia is hosting refugees from other countries, why can't we make peace our priority? And why can't we advocate for peace? We are tired of every day talking as refugees because in as much as Kenya is hosting us, Kenya has done good for me because my education system, my entire education life, I studied in Kenya. To the point I became the student president at the University of Nairobi. But then I don't belong. Not because Kenya is not giving me opportunities, but because I always long to go back home. Of course, we always say home is where the heart belongs. Of course, you are here today discussing all this, but governments, people who are sitting here, our priority, I always keep repeating it, is going back home. So let's stop talking on issues on how to solve problems of refugees. Of course, it's been there in years. I just heard the other day UNHCR is celebrating 75 years of serving refugees. What are we doing to make home safe? I want to go back to South Sudan because I've studied in Kenya, of course, and from day one, I've always wanted to go back home. So let's shift our priorities. Let's advocate for safe countries. Because donors are getting tired, and if donors are getting tired, we just have to stop calling on governments, on donors to keep funding us. We have to call on our governments to know we don't belong in the, we belong, we are treated well, but we don't have the sense of belonging. So to my minister, when you go back to our country, say that we need to go back home. South Sudan is safe for Sudanese, and us, we have to go back home because it's not safe always, in as much as it is safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our very distinguished sister representing refugees. What you have actually emphasized on is the most important. Peace, security, and stability of our member states. And we are very glad that all our honorable ministers are here, and His Excellency, the Executive Secretary, who always sits on the matter of peace and security in our region, is here. The Chair, His Excellency, the Minister for Interior, is here representing President of the Republic of Djibouti is here, and our hosts. So we are very grateful. You have highlighted and emphasized on the issue of peace, security, and stability. Thank you very much for your contribution. Excellencies and distinguished delegates, I would like to invite a very strong partner of IGAD and its member states, the European Union, represented by His Excellency George Pereiro Pinho. Please, you're welcome, Excellency, to make some remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Onesimus Kipchumba Murkomen, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, Mr. Saif Nur Hassan, Minister of Interior of the Republic of Djibouti and IGAD Chair, Excellencies, Ministers of the IGAD member states here present, His Excellency Dr. Wogne Gebeye, IGAD Executive Secretary, the Deputy Director, UNHCR Deputy Director for Eastern and Southern Africa, Martin Mathieu, Excellencies, representatives of the platform's core group members, partners, colleagues, good morning to you all. Allow me first to express apologies on behalf of the Ambassador of the European Union to the Republic of Kenya, Henriette Geiger. She would very much be willing to be here today. She's out of the country this week and therefore has asked me to represent her as head of cooperation of the EU delegation to Kenya. So on behalf of the European Union and the GATT Platform's core group, it's my pleasure to deliver to you our opening statement ahead of today's final deliberation. This platform, the GATT platform, is now more relevant than ever, perhaps. It's a complex environment. It has been mentioned, country. In South Sudan, 2.5 million people. Sudan, 2.5 million people remain displaced, in addition to 600,000 refugees. Conflict still affects Somalia, Ethiopia. But further than conflict, we have the regional threat, of course, of climate change and its consequences. This multiplies the risks of displacement. In 2024, the Horn of Africa region 7 countries recorded 1.3 million internal disaster displacement, mostly for floods and droughts. So in this context, of course, people's movement remains an important resilient strategy for affected communities, either by conflict or by the consequences of climate change. And I think in this regard, we would like, as European Union and core group donor members, to salute IGAD's and IGAD member states' efforts to support local integration, support rural solutions, indeed, return, local integration, resettlement, and return, as I was saying. Of course, all this takes place in well-existed legal frameworks that have been referred to. They provide guidelines for protection and assistance across the region, 1951 Refugee Convention, its 1967 Protocol, 1969 OAU Convention, and as well, of course, the 2012 Kampala Convention that provide all these guidelines. But we believe that the IGAD platform adds to this and to this legal framework. And I would underline probably 3 things that the platform is doing. First of all, it supports the Nairobi process, and therefore this, which means basically shifting the response to forced displacement from a humanitarian and security focus to a broader development-oriented framework. Secondly, it has sustained the South Sudan Solutions Initiatives. We are well aware of the challenges now affecting it and linked it to conflict and political violence. But in spite of that, we think it achieved important milestones, no less, for example, the launch of the South Sudan National Durable Solutions Strategy and Plan of Action. Thirdly, the platform has contributed to the advancement of the Global Compact for Refugee pledges, including Shirika Plan in Kenya, Mekatet strategy in Ethiopia, which are government-led strategies aimed at transforming traditional refugee camps into more inclusive, self-reliant, and development-oriented settlements. On the EU side, we have been a supporter of the IGAD platform since 2021, with 17.5 million provided so far, and we have focused on two aspects. On the one hand, the support to the Secretariat as such, and helping, contributing to their work in terms of implementation of key platform priority activities, in particular under the Sudan and South Sudan Solutions Initiative. But we have also, of course, provided direct support to the activities that the platform has facilitated. Here we are working mostly through our partners in UNHCR, in Sudan, in South Sudan, Ethiopia, in Kenya, and Uganda. We have focused on regional youth peace building, on data and evidence collection, on registration, on documentation, and on access to basic services. Of course, there are challenges that are present and are there. And I think at three levels, I would say. On the level of the platform itself, we believe that technical coordination meetings, this coordination at technical level has been perhaps insufficiently and not regular enough. And we would call for this to be more regular. At the secretarial level, of course, there are gaps in terms of human resources, and indeed, Secretariat could benefit from increased financial support from IGAD member states as well as from efficiency gains. On the donor side, on the development partner side, we can do more to increase coordination among ourselves and to reduce overlaps. Excellencies, colleagues, let me